Alright, hi guys. This is going to be a new type of video that I've not tried posting before, but we are going to review a test that we took in class. So happens to be our Chapter 6 test, and I'm going to go in this video and probably in the next video over each solution to each problem. And your job is I want you to take a different colored pen, something different than what you used on the test, and I want you to go through and correct your mistakes. And after each question that you missed, I want you to write me an explanation of what was your mistake? What did you do on that problem that sent you down the wrong path? So that is kind of your job. Now, if I get to a question and you're like, oh, I got that one. I totally got that right. You probably can fast forward in this video and skip over that. But focus on the ones you did miss because you want to figure out what were those mistakes. So I'm going to start going through it, and I'm going to start just on this first question here, which was to simplify. And we're dealing with some negative powers and a zero power. So there's lots of ways we could do this problem. One way is we can move the negative powers first. Why do the negative fourth? I guess it was meant to be on top of the fraction. And 2 to the negative 3, I guess it was meant to be on bottom of the fraction. And then this thing, x to the 0, is 1. So we don't really need that 1. So when I go to write my answer, I'm not going to worry about the 1 at all. I'm just going to write y to the 4th over 2 to the 3rd. And if I wanted to, technically I could leave that as my answer. Or I could remember that 2 to the 3rd means 2 times 2 times 2. And that would have to be 8. So I could say my answer is y to the 4th over 8. And then I'm going to circle that as a final answer. For the second one, 3 to the 0, anything to the 0 power is always 1. So that was kind of a quick answer on that one. And then for question 3, I noticed we have base 5 and base 5, and we're multiplying them together. So we know the power laws say that when you're multiplying, you add the powers. So this is really equal to 5 to the negative 6 plus 3 power. Now negative 6 plus 3 is a negative 3. So I'm almost to my answer, 5 to the negative 3. But I need to change it. That negative power is not really what I want. So I'm going to write it's 1 over 5 to the 3rd power. And then technically, that could be your final answer, 1 over 5 to the 3rd power. Or you could figure out what 5 times 5 times 5 is, which is, that's 125. And your answer could be 1 over 125. And that would work too. Either one of these answers would be considered correct. All right, let's look at question 4. They build up and get a little harder as we continue on here. We have a big parenthesis to the 3rd power. I'm going to go about this 2 ways. One way is to go the long route and break it out. To the 3rd power means I have 3 of these parentheses. And inside these parentheses, I have a negative 4 and an x squared, a negative 4 and an x squared, a negative 4 and an x squared. Which means I need to multiply this out. I need to do negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. In fact, I'm going to write negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. And then I need to do x squared times x squared times x squared. So I see, let's see, 2, 4, 6. I see x to the 6th power. And then I see 4 times 4, which is a negative 4 times a negative 4 is a positive 16. But then times that by a negative 4, you go back to being a negative 64. So the answer is negative 64x to the 6. Here's another way I could have done that problem, especially if I was going for my level 4 on this, is I could have used the power rules, the exponent laws, and I could have said, okay, well, it's to the 3rd power in a parenthesis. So negative 4 is going to be to the 3rd power, and x squared is going to be times 3 in the power. And 2 times 3 is 6, so I get the same answer. And negative 4 to the 3rd power is negative 64, and I get the same answer. So that's kind of how you do that one. Let's look at 5. 5, well, there's a few different strategies. The negative power does give me a little bit of work here with a big parenthesis, and it's kind of up to you on how you want to approach this. One way I think about it is take that power inside the parenthesis. I'm going to take the 1 that was on top of the fraction and now make it 1 to the negative 4th. I'm going to take the 3 that was on bottom and make it 3 to the negative 4th. I'm going to take that a cubed, a to the 3rd power, and I'm going to be timesing it by negative 4. And now I got to rearrange all this. All these negative powers basically mean I need to flip everything. I need the negative powers to go up or down to fix this fraction. So 1 to the 4th is now going to go on the bottom. 3 to the negative 4th will be 3 to the positive 4th on top. A to the 3 times negative 4, that's a to the negative 12th. So we're going to move it on top and make it a to the 12th. Now think about what we have. We have 3 to the 4th, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which I'm just going to leave it 3 to the 4th. And then we have a to the 12th. And then it's all over 1. It's divided by 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So we don't even need that 1. We can actually leave this as our answer. And that would be totally fine to do. If you really feel like multiplying 3 to the 4th out, I mean, you could. That is an option if you kind of wanted to do that. 3 to the 4th, I believe, yeah, it's 81. So you could rewrite this as 81 a to the 12th power, and that would be fine too. Either answer counts. Okay, let's look at number 6 here. Okay, so this one doesn't have a lot of work actually. I see a negative power here, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to keep the 12 on top. I'm going to keep the d to the 6th, and I'm going to move c to the 7th on the bottom. But then I don't see anything that can simplify. These are d's, these are c's. They don't cancel each other out or anything. So this is the answer. That's about all I can do on this problem, is one move. All right, let's continue on. Looking at question number 7. We have a negative third root problem of 216. This negative right here is on the outside of the problem. So it really doesn't matter. In fact, it kind of just sits out in front. You can almost pretend it's not even there. Just focus on figuring out what's the third root of 216. What number can I multiply 3 times in a row to get 216? And I believe 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. So the cubed root of it is just 6. But remember, there was a negative out in front. So if the negative is out in front, we'll put it here. There's our answer. And I'm done. And then we kind of bump up the level here and we go to a fractional power. So we have 64 to the 5/3 power. I'm really going to think of that as 64 to the 1/3 power and then to the 5th. That's what that 5/3 actually means. So we are looking at a third root of 64, and then we're looking at it to the 5th power. So first we got to figure out, what do we multiply 3 times in a row to get 64? So I think 4 times 4 times 4 would work. So let's see, I'm going to write it over here. If 4 times 4 times 4 is the third root of 64, what we'll do is we'll take that 4 and we'll cube root it. We'll take the 4 out, and now we just have to figure out what 4 to the 5th is. 4 to the 5th is going to be our answer. And technically we could probably leave our answer like that, but we're supposed to evaluate. So I'm going to do 4 to the 5th power. And if you forgot how to do that on your calculator, you could just do 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 5 times. But the other way you could do it, let's see if this shows up on the screen, is you could use the little caret button that's down here. You could type in 4, the little caret, to the 5th power, and it's going to look like this on your screen. And when we hit equals, we get 1024. So our answer is 1024, and I'm going to circle that as my final answer. Okay, we're doing good. Let's do the next one, number 9. Negative 8 to the 2/3 power. Okay, so again, let's break that up. That's like negative 8 to the 1/3 power squared. That's what that really means. So our job is to find the cubed root of negative 8, and then when we're done, we're going to square it. Now, usually I say you cannot square root a negative number, but this is not a regular square root, it's a cubed root. So I'm thinking in my head, what can multiply to get 8? 2 times 2 times 2. But to get a negative 8, I could do negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. And if I found the cubed root of that, after I'm done, I'll square it. So it looks like the third root is negative 2, but I'm supposed to square it. So squaring it means to multiply negative 2 times a negative 2, and that is a positive 4. So the answer is 4. I believe on the test there was quite a few of you that accidentally wrote -4 as your answer. So you got to pay attention to those negatives. When you're squaring the negative, it turns into a positive. So the answer is +4. All right, I'm going to post another video for the next couple of problems. So go ahead and move on to video number 2 and see if you can check it out. Bye, guys.